Okay, let's make a different kind of particle. Let's go 3D.
Oh.
I don't know why I've got two empty scenes. And we're going to make a particle 3D. Particles, as it's called here. All right, so this is broadly the same. We need a new particles material, but we don't have a texture. And the reason for that is we're making geometry. So if we go to our pass 1, we can pick our mesh type. Now, what I tend to do is I'll pick a quad mesh. And then when I put the material in, there's a few things we can do. So I'll show you what I normally do first. And then I'll show you something fun you can do just with 3D. So let's go into our spatial material. And under flags, we can do unshaded, for example. That's fine. But we want, I'm not parameters, not flags. Billboard mode, particle billboard. And what that's doing is wherever the camera is, that texture is being pointed to. Now, this is important. Don't do normal Y billboard because all of the rotation and stuff that the particle does won't work. It'll just be stuck as an image. And you'll get some really weird examples. Enabled, same problem, right? Except you'll think it's working because it's looking at you, but it won't rotate. It won't do all that stuff. So we need a particle billboard. And then from here, we can do things like turn gravity off, which is a thing I like to do. That's not under materials, though. Oh, wait. Let's put on transparent and unshaded. And under albedo, let's do our energy hoop again. And one more thing we want to do that's quite important. I want to control the color in the particles, not here. So I'm just going to go use as albedo. And now, why are you? Oh, because I'm looking sideways. Now, when I go into the particles and I do gravity, and we have a 3D environment, it's just a little hard to see. Actually, let's go back to down to our 3D material. I don't want to do unshaded, but under parameters again, I could change this to add. That's how you do it there. You could also do unshaded. Unshaded and add is just not going to work as a combination. Everything will be white. Like, it's just not going to work. So if we wanted to recreate what we just did, we could do so. But let's make something a little more unusual, right? So I've just showed you, here's how we could recreate it. So we could just go back into the sphere projection and the rotation, like all of those parameters are the same. But what if we have a brand new particle material and our brand new pass is a cube? Specifically a cube of not 2 by 2 by 2. Now you'll notice values of 2 in the 2D thing are imperceptible, but here they're huge. Why? Because in 3D, that's 2 meters by 2 meters by 2 meters, which is roughly like the height of a person. So let's go 0.25 in all 3 directions. And we don't need any kind of material for now, but actually let's make material. Use special material.
Is that a CSV?
Nope, that's a mesh. That's a mesh instance.
So you could bring anything in.
Yep.
Should send you over Suzanne the monkey.
Yeah. Well, I can show you something very cool that I've got over in Battle Tactics. But I'll show you that in a bit if we have time.
Awesome.
All right. So parameters. I don't want to add on this one, but I do want to go to. I don't mean parameters. I mean vertex color uses albedo. So I want to control the color over in our thing. Right now, everything is slightly blue. That's because the sky is blue and we're using sky as the light. So if you want to change that, you'll need a new environment. So let's just put one in real quick.
It's a common complaint of Godot, isn't it?
Yep. And I'm just going to give it white ambient light, right? Pretty ugly, but there we go. We have white blocks falling. I don't want them falling. Great. So here we have our block.
Daz says 2 meters. That's a particle like a wheelie bin flying around.
Yep. All right. So let's actually, you know what? No, I'm complicating things. All right. So we have ourselves a little particle, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a emission shape not going to use sphere this time, I'm going to use box. And I'm going to have quite a small thing, right? So this is 25 centimeters of the size of the box. Let's do 20 centimeters as our emission cube. And let's give ourselves a radial acceleration
Ooh.
of 10. But let's also give ourselves a direction. Actually, let's come back to radial acceleration, just so I can see what I'm doing here. No. There we go. That's way too fast. That's a little slow.
Oh, if you do a few of these on top of one another, you've got yourself a low poly campfire.
Yep. By the way, I've got everything in pure white ambient light, so it's really hard to see what we're doing. So let's give ourselves a nice gray ambient light and an omni light.
Roderick wants to see 1,000 of them. Oi!
Your wish has been granted. I mean, I don't know what you're going to do with 1,000 of them, but it's 1,000. Let's put it back to 8 for now. All right, so now I've got a nice dark ambient light, so we can see the shadow of a single omni light in pure white, which is making the lighting designer really angry. But we have it, and let's just go over here and give ourselves a little bit of backlight in a different color. We're not worrying about shadows. Okay, so what are we making here? We are making an explosion. Let's have a lifetime randomness. And let's have 256 of these. Way too many. 64. And let's change our angle. So our angle is going to be 360 with a 1 degree thing. Oh, with maximum randomness. And for some reason that's not showing.
While you're playing with that, we've got a question from Daz. Out of curiosity, as it comes to mind, can you couple particles with geonodes? So this is one for me. So, yes, kind of. I mean, you can do particle systems in geometry nodes themselves, pretty much. So it's kind of taken over some of that. But obviously, when it comes to particle systems in their original use, they would often be used for something like smoke and water and fluid simulations, which I've seen some incredibly clever people do in geometry nodes, but still probably the domain of a particle system for the moment. But you can certainly combine them in various ways.
I just realized this wasn't working. I am rotating on one face. So I'm doing angles. It's like, why isn't it working? Because I don't have that there. Okay, here we go. Boop, boop, boop. There we go. That's what I'm trying to do. Great. So now I've got my angles, 360 with a 1 thing random. There we go. And I just want to rotate on the Y. Let's give it a 2-second thing. And let's go to our scale. Give it a curve. Start about 0.5, end at 0.
It just fades out.
Now, maybe we don't want them going up, so let's get rid of our initial velocity. But now we've got tangential, we need radial. So let's go 10. 5. And let's make. There we go. We now have a little retro game style explosion.
Oh, I love it. I've got a question from Flame Lizard 21. Hey there. Do you know if it's possible to spawn particles from the mesh of a character? Not sure if that's possible in Godot currently.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Absolutely.
So that shape that you were defining earlier, whether it was sphere or cube, is there is that where you do it?
I will show you in just a second because that was exactly what I was talking about. All right, so we have basic red thing. But you'll notice it's not looking red. Why? Because we're using local lighting. So let's go to parameters, and we can either do add, or we can go into flags and do unshaded. So yeah, you're making a little retro game and you want an explosion. You could do 3D things. Let's take a look at actually.
Roderick also says nice Minecraft explosion.
Exactly. That was my technique. Don't save.